Ready.
Hi, this is James Zhang with Old Capital, and today we are here with Bard.Hoover and Matthew.Roth to talk about a new deal called Broadway. So thanks for jumping in, guys. I'll kick it over to Bard first. Maybe give us a little intro about yourself and your team, and then we'll go over to Matthew before we jump into this deal.
Sure. Well, thanks, James, for putting this together. So we are Bard.Hoover Multifamily here at Marcus and Millichap. We're actually an 18-person team. Now we've grown quite a bit over the last couple of years. We currently have 5 staff members, and we have 5 of us that cover the larger deals in DFW. We'll call it 76 units and greater. And then we have 2 guys on the team that handle the smaller deals, 75 units and under, split down the middle. One has Tarrant, one has Dallas County. And then we have 6 brokers on the team that cover secondary markets, ranging all the way from New Mexico, East Texas, West Texas, Central Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. And so we're really just starting to expand more into Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, and Oklahoma for that matter. But those guys cover the secondary markets for us. And so last year we do around $1 billion, anywhere from $500 million to $1 billion in total transactions annually. We'll be closer to $1 billion this year, or we'll go over $1 billion actually. Yeah, we cover all those markets.
All right, let's go over to Matthew. Maybe give people just a brief intro on yourself.
Absolutely, James. So my name is Matthew.Roth. I'm originally from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, studied finance at Florida State University. After graduating in May of 2019, came to DFW for commercial real estate and just been running and gunning ever since. I handle 76 units and over here in DFW primary market.
All right, perfect. All right, let's jump into this deal. So 288 units over in Garland. I don't know, Bard, if you want to maybe kick it off and just give people an overview of this deal and sort of, what you see as upside in this deal for people.
Sure. So Broadway, like James said, 288 units, built in 1982 in Garland. This property is owned by the Exponential Group, and a lot of people are familiar with them. They own thousands of units. They're an excellent renovator, and they import all of their components. So very experienced group. Kim Radiker started the company, and she's known as a quality owner that has excellent management, has an excellent renovation arm as well. And so we're excited to bring this out for the Exponential Group.
Great. So I switched over to the location, maybe give people a flavor of sort of where it sits in Garland.
Absolutely. So what I like about this map is you can really see it on a macro level. So Broadway is positioned 1 mile north of I-30, very conveniently located. And what I like is it's sandwiched between Richardson and Mesquite. Richardson to the north being the telecommunication corridor here in Texas. They have companies such as Cisco, CommScope, Nortel, Texas Instruments, huge there, as well as University of Texas, Dallas, which has one of the largest MBA programs. I believe they're #1 here in Texas as well. And then to the south, you have Mesquite, which is known for having the Pepsi bottling plant, which is the largest bottling plant in North America, FedEx Ground DFW hub, Walmart's National Training Center, UPS customer care. So large employment basis, as well as recreation. As you see just east, about 5 to 7 minute drive, you have Lake Ray Hubbard, which is one of the largest lakes here in Texas, big for boating, fishing, wakeboarding, jet skiing. So plenty of places not only to work and generate that income, of course, for the rents, which is what this is all about, but also play, making it a very conveniently located asset. So looking in, as I mentioned, it's 1 mile north of I-30. You've also got 635, 2 miles west, and President George Bush Turnpike, 2.5 miles away. Dallas Core Plus, right to the financial district, is about a 15-minute drive. And then moving into Garland, you've got just down the street an Albertsons, a Walmart Supercenter, a Walmart neighborhood market, and a Starbucks, a Quick Trip. So this is everything right on Broadway Boulevard that you would want in a multifamily asset. You know, the median area income in, the AMI in Garland, a 1 mile, you're looking about 55,000. On a 3 mile is 63,000. and the median age is early 30s. So this is a very strong workforce asset, tenant base, and I believe the income absolutely shows that.
All right. So I'll put up some pictures of the exterior. Maybe talk about what the seller has done so far, maybe on the exterior, and then we'll jump into the interior.
Yeah, you bet. If you want to flip to the next, well, I can run. Yeah. So on this page, on the right there. Yeah, go back to the other page, next page. Yeah, so on the right there, you'll see they've spent about $2.5 million on the property. They've done 97 interior units that they've fully upgraded. Others, some of them are partials, and we'll go through that in just a little bit. On the exterior, you can see that they've spent, $725,000. They reskinned the exterior of the property with hardy board and then painted it. They spent $125,000 on water conservation, $100,000 on a fire system upgrade. They did new signage, completely remodeled the clubhouse. It looks really nice. They did pool renovations. There's 2 pools and extensive masonry work throughout the property. So there were railroad ties all over the property. There were a lot of them at the time, and so they replaced all that with masonry. So spent a good amount on that as well. If you look over on the left, we'll talk about just a few of the attributes, details of the property. So its average unit size is 962 square feet. It's individual HVAC, pitched roofs. There are 2 boilers for hot water that are around 7 years old. There are full-size connections in every unit except the A1 has stackable, so every unit has connections. And we'll talk about the upside as it relates to that here in just a minute. The tenants pay electric, water, sewer, and gas is rubbed back about 95% actually, and then they charge $5 for trash. So that's just kind of
they spent close to almost 9,000 a unit on the property. And then they actually broke down sort of how much they spent on interior upgrades, because that was the biggest component of their budget. So maybe talk about what they did on the interiors and then what rents they're getting on the premium.
Yeah, so Exponential is different in that they import all of the components for all of their renovations, and they have a warehouse in Irving where they actually store them. And so we have a great detailed breakdown of exactly the cost going in for every single unit type. So you can see kind of in the summary at the bottom, basically the smallest floor plan for the materials only is about $4,311, and for the largest floor plan on the property, the 1,038 square foot unit, it's $5,611 just for the components. And then they also will do so the next buyer has the opportunity to purchase this directly from them to continue the interior renovation program, which is obviously very unique. They will also do the labor on it. So you can see it broken down on labor costs. So the all-in costs on the smallest floor plan, $7,741, and on the largest floor plan would be about $10,583. So you could have your own labor put it in if you want and just buy the materials from them, or you could have them, it could be turnkey and have them do all of the work to the interior. So this is a very unique, easy turnkey opportunity to be able to go in and purchase the exact same materials that they've implemented on their current upgrades and just continue the program. So it's just easy. And additionally, another benefit is that you can actually purchase these components for other properties that you have if you want to upgrade other assets, and not even talking about Broadway, but other assets, you could go in and purchase this from them as well. They'd come out and measure it, and they'd come up with a budget for each floor plan for you as well. So it's a great opportunity to get out to the property. They're going to put up a kiosk in the leasing office to where you can actually see each of the materials and see the costs associated with it. So it's a great opportunity, easy opportunity to go in and upgrade the unit. So one of the things we caught when we were prepping for this call is you look over on the right-hand column and you see the pro forma rents there. That's organic rent of 3%, which we found, compared to the competing properties, and we'll get into rent comps here in just a minute. That's just the organic rent. And then the column on the right is after the upgrade, what kind of a premium can you see? And so you see down at the bottom, we put $165 premium after you upgrade the interiors on average. Since going out to the property, they are actually, that number is incorrect, and we're having that corrected today, but they're actually getting a $200 premium for upgraded 1 bedrooms over a non-upgraded 1 bedroom, and they're getting a $250 premium on upgraded 2 bedrooms over a non-upgraded 2 bedroom. So that's a big number. I mean, usually, you know, we all see these 100, 150. So we thought the 165 premium was above average, but actually they're coming in at 200 and 250 for upgrade. So it's an excellent opportunity for upside there. That's the largest piece of upside. We'll talk about that here in just a minute.
So people can spend about seven to 10,000 a unit and really get these. They're already getting the bumps, right? So just really come in, continue the interior upgrades on the property, and this is what they're doing. Maybe if you want to talk to just sort of what they've done on upgrades on the interiors. Yeah,
you bet. So you can see that they paint the cabinets. They replace some of the cabinet fronts as needed. So it's been kind of a mix of that. There's granite. They put a new sink in, a new gooseneck faucet. They do the full backsplash all the way up, very tastefully done. They have the vinyl flooring. It's kind of that grayish vinyl flooring, and they have the blue-gray walls that they paint. These pictures don't really depict it that well, but when you get out there to tour it, you can see that it's more of a blue-gray. And then on the bathrooms, they put in frame mirrors, new lighting package, and they put the new countertop there that's granite as well, with a new sink and new faucet. It has new lighting fixtures throughout. The plate covers on the outlets are all new. So that's pretty much the extent of what they did on the interiors.
Okay. And then, so we've talked about the, continuing the interior upgrade program. That definitely is sort of the top line on sort of what the upside is. You want to go through the remaining, maybe other income items here that you mentioned in the OM?
Yeah. So obviously the biggest upside is, and another thing that's interesting is they've only done 97 units. So they've left about 2/3 of the property that is not renovated for the next buyer to come in and renovate. Usually their business model is to go in and do about 2/3 of the unit and leave 1/3 of the unit for the next buyer. So they left more upside on this asset than they do really on almost all the other assets they bring to market. So the great opportunity. That's obviously the biggest piece of upside on this deal, but there's other ancillary income opportunities as well. You could purchase washers and dryers and lease them back. You see, we have 100 at $40 a month. You could expand first floor patios into backyards. And we actually determined that there are the 38 locations that were identified on the property are on the kind of the back sides of the property where it's a large grassy area. So this is not your normal $50 expansion. This would be more like a $100 expansion, because you could do literally like a 30-yard fence in backyard in the back of these 38 units. And then we have found some more units where you could do the smaller and get a $50 premium. So that 50 around there is actually going to be going up to 100. And then there'll be some other ones, and we're still trying to get the exact count on that to get the $50 premium for the smaller backyards. Every single, there's one covered space for every unit. So there's 288 covered spaces. Currently, they're not charging a premium for that. So that's obviously low-hanging fruit moving forward. You would need to, on new leases and even renewals, start charging a $50 premium, $40 or $50 premium for that covered space. They should be charging it. Everybody charges for covered spaces, but that's just low-hanging fruit, easy other income. And then also uncovered parking fee. So you could get a $20 fee. We identified 75 that are right in front of units where that tenant would pay $20 a month to have that car parked right in front of their unit that they could check on at night and everything by just looking out the windows. So those are some other ancillary income opportunities in addition to the big one, which is updating the interiors.
So about 4,000 to 5,000 total in rehab across those 5 or 6 items. And you're thinking that's going to drive revenue or collections up about 473,000 across the entire property. So that's great.
That's a big number. You saw that number at the bottom. In a 5 cap, that's $9.5 million in value creation.
$9.5 million. So, yeah, it's a big number
if you
for
can
sure.
Implement, it's a big number.
So maybe we talked about the location of Broadway. Maybe talk about some of the rent comps in the area, sort of what they're doing, how they compete versus Broadway.
Sure, yeah. So I actually took it upon myself to go ahead and tour the top 5 comparables, really get in the units, see what they're doing to enhance them, what they're charging as if you're going to go in as a prospective tenant, and what type of price guidance you'd be looking at there. So take the top one, for example, Newport. You're still looking at black appliances, sprayed countertops. It wasn't really new or pop style painting on the cabinets. In the kitchen, there was no backsplash. Bathroom, the vanity didn't look to be new. The mirror wasn't framed. So granted, the unit enhancement, what was it, an update? Sure. But it just wasn't to where Broadway was. Neither were the other 4 remaining. Saddle Tree, you're still looking at black appliances. Say it was a 1-bedroom, there were no washer dryer connections, so you had to use a laundry facility. Again, sprayed countertops, no backsplash. Hills of Palos Verdes, black appliances again. Carpet in there, as well as in Newport, which surprised me. The Newport leading the market also had carpet in its enhanced units. Back to Hills of Palos Verdes, sprayed countertops again. This one did have a backsplash in the kitchen, but it was a white tile. It wasn't multicolored as you saw in the enhanced units for Broadway, and it was only above the stove. It didn't extend out to the remaining part of the wall that the stove was on. And those cabinets were white. To me, that's more of a dated, you really should be using maybe more of a darker or wood style cabinet. White's typically in those more dated units waiting to be enhanced. And boulders, again, you still saw carpet, sprayed countertops, white appliances, slight backsplash again, but it didn't even go all the way up the wall or to the side. So it was just kind of a, hey, let's do it to put something in there. But really, they should have gone all the way up the wall or to the sides. So the only comparable I saw that really did, quality unit enhancements as Broadway is Arts at Broadway Commons. They had the granite countertops in the kitchens and the bathrooms. They had the backsplashes. Though it was white appliances, they were brand new. They did look good. The sinks, those are the only ones that also had gooseneck faucets. All the other ones in the comparables were stationary. So Arts of Broadway Commons really showed that, hey, those granite countertops, gooseneck faucets, people will pay those premiums in this market. It really proved that concept in addition to Broadway, and to show that tenants will come in and pay it, mainly because they didn't even have a fully enhanced unit that I could go view. They had a partial one that included the granite countertops and the newer sinks and backsplashes. So that showed me that what they're doing at Broadway with these higher quality imported type of upgrades works in this Garland market. As I said when I was explaining the location, this is a strong workforce tenant base. They take pride in where they live, and they're willing to pay the premiums associated with it. At Broadway, you see stainless steel appliances, the faux wood flooring, granite countertops, the gooseneck faucets, frame mirrors in the bathroom, new vanities. As Bard was explaining, the pictures that we showed was light brown. They're starting to do a light blue. As I was there touring yesterday, it really just lightens up the room. It almost looks a little similar, James, to the color in the background you have right there on the walls. It really just brightens it up and brings a nice refreshing feel to the unit. Track lighting in the kitchen. So they really did a pristine job. And as you saw for the price of materials for the import, this group, Exponential Property, they really do a pristine job on their properties. And knowing that they're willing for new owners to come in and still be able to, import the materials to their Irving warehouse, get it boxed up and out to Broadway. This is an easy deal that you just continue that proof of concept that's already worked and bump up these rates. And I really do believe that Broadway should be leading the market here in Garland.
No, that's perfect. So, we talked about sort of interior upgrades, the other income. Bard, do you want to jump in here and show us sort of, all right, where we're at today on T12 versus where you think pro forma can go?
Yeah, so you can see what James has highlighted here, the unit enhancement income. So we bake that in. It was based on the program that we showed before. We bake it in over 2 years. So it would be phased in because it's unrealistic to think that you can achieve this in year one. So you can see we have $93,476 in additional income by doing 75 units in the first year and updating them and then getting that premium. And remember, that's still based on that $165 premium. And now we've learned from the manager that they're actually getting an average of 225, anywhere from $200 to $250 a unit. So that number actually will be over 100 when we update this after this call. Other income. So what we did on other income is we phased this in over 2 years as well. And so basically that's 100 washer dryer sets we underwrote at $40 a month, phased in over 2 years, 38 yard expansions at $50 a month, that's phased in over 2 years, 75 covered spots that you're going to get a $40 premium phased in over 2 years, and then 75 uncovered spaces at $20 a month that we phased in over 2 years as well. We took, you can see on the vacancy and credit loss, we took that down from 6.59% to 5%. And the reason we did that is they've been consistently, since we've been tracking this property for months, 95 plus. Currently, they're 96% occupied, 97% pre-lease. So you should feel pretty confident in that 5% number. And they've gotten, you know, some of the bad paying tenants, COVID related, they've gotten most of those out. And so it's clean now. And that's why now is a good time to bring this asset to market. If you go down, the expenses are pretty in line with what you would see on other assets. But if you go to real estate taxes, this is one of the most important things of this property. The current assessment on the property is $18 million. So what we did is we had Cantrell McCullough do a tax analysis for us. And so to say, what do they think it's going to come in for 2021? And then if with a purchase price of, let's say 37.5 million, maybe, what would it be in 2022? So they basically came in and said, they think for this year, it'll come in at 22 million, which is 60% of 37 million. And next year they project, if it transacts around, we'll call it $37 million, that the taxes will go up to 25 million based on their uniform and equal analysis. And so that's only 67% of 37 million. So it's very important that prospective buyers get comfortable with that number. And we suggest to reach out to Cantrell McCullough yourself and dig into their analysis and hear their confidence in being able to achieve that. So the good thing about it, it's going to transact, you know, probably in the month of May is when it'll close, and they will have already come out with values for this year. So you're going to be guaranteed on that lower value for the remaining 7 months of this year. 2022 is going to be the key at that $25 million number that they came up with. So again, if you're underwriting this at 85%, you're not going to be competitive on the deal. That's just the bottom line. So get comfortable with that. We encourage you again to reach out to Cantrell McCullough and get comfortable with that number. It's very important in your underwriting.
All right, great. So Bard mentioned sort of whisper price, 36 to 37 million, 37.5 million. So we looked at it really 3 different ways. Number 1, Fannie Mae, number 2, Freddie Mac, and number 3, non-recourse bridge. So depending on which leverage point you want to go after. So on the Fannie side, we're seeing anywhere from 70 to 75% loan to value, about 3.25 to 3.5 with 3 to 5 years IO. And Fannie Mae right now has 12 months of P&I on their COVID reserve, so you'll have to put that up. Some people are putting that as part of their CapEx budget and doing, raising half their CapEx money and then using the other half from the P&I reserve when it comes back. Freddie Mac, we've seen them be a little bit more conservative on real estate taxes, so it'd probably be closer to that 70% leverage on this deal, but we're seeing starting rates about 3 to 3.25 on a floating rate, and their reserve is lower. So their reserve would only be 9 months P&I. And then the last one, non-recourse bridge, we're seeing people go up to 75% loan to cost. About 4% is your starting rate on the float, and then it'll be full-term IO with a 3-year term, and there's no P&I reserve. So depending on where your equity is comfortable, you could go a little bit higher leverage on the bridge. In terms of Fannie and Freddie, we looked at, sort of your net rental, we saw that improving. So we used the T1, other income at T12. This property, 288 units, runs pretty well. It's a good size deal. So 3% management fee, $300 on G&A advertising professional. They're running it actually closer to 900 to 1,000 on payroll. We used 1,100, so there might be a little bit of room there. Utilities, water and sewer, that's just T12. R&M at 600 a door, and then insurance at 450 a door. And then taxes, as Bard said, at 60% of purchase times the tax rate. And so overall, I mean, you're at 1.8 million on your net cash flow on a whisper price of 36 to 37 million. So sizes fairly well for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac right now. And so let's jump back to you guys. I know you guys are doing tours right now. Have you set a call for offers date, or are you taking offers as they come? What's sort of the storyline there?
Right. So as we just launched this officially last week, we are currently doing tours through the rest of the month. We don't have a set call for offers date yet. However, we're feeling that we will announce it either next week or the one following. And we're thinking a pretty accurate estimate will be early March.
All right. Any other final comments before we wrap up here?
No, I would just say, you know, I mean, we market a lot of deals in DFW, as everyone knows, and this is a very clean asset. They've done an excellent job as far as management goes, excellent job on the renovations. You really need to go out and see it. And I think it's unique in that there is so much meat on the bone, 2/3 of the property yet to be renovated. And just the ease of the renovation program where you can buy the components directly from them. You can either install them yourself or have them do the installation as well. So it's completely turnkey. So it's a great opportunity to pick up a 1980 Class B asset in a very strong market with easy upside potential and you know, turnkey as far as purchasing the components for such.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on my end on this one. I mean, you're coming in with good cash flow with a proven game plan. As you hold, you'll have even better cash flow and then have a nice big pop on the back end with the value creation here. So tons of meat on the bone, good big footprint. And again, this location is great, strong workforce. I really think this is a great deal for value add players here in DFW.
All right. Bard, Matthew, appreciate you guys coming on to tell the story. And we will see you out there in the next tour.
Thanks,
James. Appreciate it.
See you guys.